Hey gearheads, and welcome to Garage Talk. I'm Corey, and these are the two newest big body-on-frame 3-row SUVs from Japanese automakers set to go up against segment sales leader Chevy Tahoe. Over here we have the 2025 Toyota Sequoia TRD Pro, the off-road variant of this vehicle, here stickering at $86,000. And over here we have the new for 2025 Nissan Armada in their top Platinum Reserve trim, here stickering just over $82,000. Which of these two big vehicles is right for you if Tahoe is just not the answer? In this video, we put them head to head, show you their ins and outs, and help you decide. Let's start this head-to-head comparison where it matters most and where it's going to impact you most day in and day out, at least in the pocketbook, and that is under the hood, because both of these vehicles have ditched their V8 variants from prior generations in favor of a twin turbocharged 3.5-liter V6, though they do it in two completely different ways. Over here in the Sequoia, yes, it is a 3.5-liter twin turbo V6, though it could more accurately be described as a 3.4-liter twin turbocharged V6. Here it is paired with a hybrid electric motor, and that is geared not for fuel economy but more for power, ringing in at 437 horsepower and 583 pound-feet of torque. This one is the stronger of the two in this head-to-head test. It is mated to a 10-speed automatic transmission, sending power down to all four wheels. And thanks to its strong power and hybrid backing, we have a max tow rating of just over 9,000 pounds. Moving over to the Nissan, we do not get the hybrid powertrain here. That is something that Nissan leaders have said they have been lacking in their entire lineup, a true hybrid, but we still get a 3.5-liter twin-turbo V6, here making a very stout 425 horsepower and 516 pound-feet of torque, which is impressive because it's doing all of that with internal combustion, no aid and help from an electric motor. Here it is mated to a 9-speed automatic transmission, and though this thing is not aimed squarely at towing, still is quite capable with an 8,500 pound max tow rating. Now, with both of these platforms ditching their V8, you would imagine that these would be stellar on fuel economy, and sadly that's not the choice, even here with this hybrid powertrain, because as I said, that hybrid backing really is for more power and more towing capability. The EPA rates this Sequoia and its iForce Max at 19 city, 22 highway, 20 combined, which is not all that great. We've been averaging at best 13 mpg in our 100 miles worth of testing so far. The Nissan, without its hybrid powertrain, you would imagine would be much worse, but the EPA rates it at a fairly similar 16 city, 20 highway, 18 combined. So yes, you are paying a penalty for ditching that hybrid powertrain, but still not all that stellar on either front in the fuel economy department. It is truly sad that here today, even with turbocharged V6s replacing V8s, we still don't get that great of fuel economy. I remember my 2007 Chevy Silverado with its 5.3-liter V8 getting better fuel economy than either one of these. But I think the name of the game is not so much fuel economy as much as it is emissions testing. And yes, I do believe that is why we get a hybrid turbocharged V6 over here, but that's just my opinion. Closing the hood on both of these, I do appreciate how neither uses a prop rod. They are truly premium vehicles, and with a price tag each starting with an 8, I couldn't imagine actually having to use a prop rod to hold the hood up. But let's come in close and take a look at their style. Yes, I'm sure you keyboard warriors have already let me know that these are not head-to-head comparisons, because Nissan does offer a Pro 4X trim to combat this TRD Pro Sequoia, and Toyota does offer the capstone trim to combat this Platinum Reserve. But I am having to work with what I've got here, and surprisingly, the Sequoia is the pricier of the two vehicles here in this head-to-head comparison by $4,000. That's not to say either one is cheap or missing out on any features, but let's talk a little bit of the styling of them each. Here we get full LED lighting up front, LED headlights, running lights, turn signals. I actually appreciate these waterfall sequential turn signals that look really cool. And then we have those lower LED fog lights. We even have this LED light bar under the Heritage Toyota in the grille, and the marker lamps. Because this vehicle is just so wide, the Department of Transportation mandates them. So very impressive design here, very rough, ready, and ready to go. And as we pull around to the side, you can see, yes, it does get the requisite 18-inch wheels with some off-road tires in these Falken Wildpeak all-terrains. Coming to the Nissan, this one really is all about style and class, especially here in this Platinum Reserve trim. Again, we get all LED lighting up front, LED turn signals, fog lights, and the like in this one, but it really is more bent for a premium on-road experience, which is made ever more obvious by the large 22-inch wheels wrapped in some Bridgestone Alenza tires, which really are a premium on-road tire. Coming to this side of the vehicle, the Sequoia really is a tank in its overall design. It's very big, chunky, and masculine. We get those very chiseled wheel arches and fender flares and all the off-road accents. The TRD Pro really is the trim that this platform was built and designed for, and I absolutely appreciate it. Surprisingly though, this being the off-road focus one, has less ground clearance. We have 9.1 inches of ground clearance, which is quite impressive for an off-road vehicle, but the Nissan has half an inch more, or just thereabouts, at 9.6 inches with its adjustable height suspension. Both of these are 3-row vehicles, but they really do pay most attention to the front 2 rows, and we will climb in and show you exactly what all those rows look like on the inside. And as we come to the back, we get all black accents, Sequoia spelled out there on the back, sequential turn signals back here on the rear that mimic the waterfall sequential turn signals up front, and dual exit exhaust. I do like the different options we have for getting into the back of the Sequoia. So we have that button right there that allows us to lift up the rear glass. Sadly, we had to say goodbye to the roll down rear window of prior generations of Sequoia, but that does allow you to quickly get in the back if you have just a bag or something you want to grab, or don't want to open the full hatch and have to worry about stuff rolling out on you. We do have a rear view camera built in behind the glass here, which I really appreciate, because if it gets dirty here, you can just put on your rear wiper. Another thing I like about the back of the Sequoia is they tell you exactly where to kick for their kick-activated hands-free power liftgate, and it makes it very easy to get in the back of your Sequoia if your hands are full. This is one area where the Sequoia definitely falls short, and they have done some fun things to counteract just how little cargo space we have behind this 3rd row. First off, we get this shelf that has 3 different tiers on which you can store it, all of which add to the overall vertical space you have back here, because that has always really been a problem with these big body on frame SUVs. Most of your space is vertically oriented, and so this shelf does help with that. It allows you to stack things a little bit more. We get these dividers here that are movable. You can see we've got a couple different places here where we can move and adjust those, all of which are very nice. Given that this is a hybrid, that battery has to go somewhere, and it goes underneath the back seats here. Now, they do have a cool trick in them in that they do slide forward and back. So with these back seats slid all the way forward, we have nearly identical space back here behind the 3rd row, and then you have this shelf adding to more overall space. But if you want to pull those close in to give you more space in front of the seats, we do have power folding 3rd row seats here. They are 60-40 split and do give you more space that way, but you can see they are a little bit slow to fold. When they are folded and the shelf is in this position, now you can flop those 2 panels out, and we have this massive cargo area giving us the best use of the space back here. And then, yes, we do have the space underneath, still adding to your overall capability. To fold those 2nd row seats down, you are going to have to go up next to the each seat and fold it down with a recline handle on the side of the vehicle. So that is one downside. Another thing we like back here is additional power for tailgating. And given that this is a hybrid powertrain, you would expect just that. I am going to go ahead and put these seats back up because we are about to climb in both of them. And then to close the power hatch, you do have some buttons right here and handle if you need it. As we move to the side of the Nissan Armada, simplicity and clean lines are the name of the game. I truly appreciate how restrained the designers were here, not to go overboard with adding too many adornments to the side of the Armada. Yes, we do have fake fender vents there in front of the front door, but I can forgive that because it does give a little bit of style and class to what would be a very simplistic side view, side shot here. They also give us that floating roof design with this back pillar back here. We have the word Armada splitting up, the body color paint from the black roof, all of which give it a nice premium look, very much on trend here in 2025. And then we have, again, as I mentioned, those 22-inch wheels, really lending to the premium feeling of the Armada Platinum Reserve. As we move to the back, you can see we have all LED lights back here as well. Just like we did up front, we get that full width LED light bar across Armada spelled across the back. You can definitely see some trends going on here, and that is in spelling out your vehicle's name, very large and in charge on the back. I think, again, just like the side, the simplistic, clean nature of this design really appeals to me just a little bit more. It's not too overdone. We do have a power liftgate back here, and this is the more spacious rear cargo area of the two. You can see just a little bit more overhang behind the third row of seats back here, but we do not get that adjustable panel or any height adjustment with this Armada. So you are going to be packing a little more strategically back here. We also don't have a rear opening glass that we have in the Toyota. So a little bit of a sacrifice on the ease of access back here, but still you get more space in its standard configuration. We do have a 60-40 split folding third row seat, which are power operated. You can fold those down right here with those two buttons. You can see once they get going, you can just let go of them. And then we have a lot of storage space with those seats down. We don't have any hybrid batteries to worry about, so the load floor is a little bit lower than that raised experience we had with the folded seats in the back of the Sequoia. So overall livability, I think this will be a tad easier to load in and load out. Just some sacrifices had to be made with that Sequoia given the hybrid power and the battery needing to go somewhere. Now we do have a few extra buttons here in these two buttons to power fold, power release the second row of seats. I left Tucker's car seat in over there, so I can't fold that one down, but it does make loading in lots of stuff a whole lot easier in the back of the Armada versus the Sequoia. And I did mention we do have an adjustable height suspension. So again, making this one easier to load in and load out. You can actually drop the suspension to its lowest ride height from back here, making that load in even easier to lift up and over the smaller than previous generations, but still large rear bumper back here. Just something to take into consideration. Go ahead and pull these third row seats up right now, and then looking up above us, we do have the same two buttons to close and a handle if the power actuated tailgate forgets to work on you. Before moving inside, I have to talk about the key. Toyota's key has lock, unlock, your hatch release, and a panic button. You can deploy a physical key from it if you need to. There is a remote start, but you have to push and hold the lock button. It is a whole process and takes a little bit of time. It is a fully passive entry with their proximity key system here. You can lock it by pressing right there, which power folds the mirrors in. And as I said, it is passive. All you have to do is grab the door handle and it unlocks. It does extend the mirrors, and then it allows you in. That is unfortunately only on the front door, so if you need to get into the back, you're going to be unlocking the front doors first. Moving inside, our TRD Pro is exclusively in black, so it's black on black on black on black. We get lots of black here on the interior, but you can see all of our controls for our towing mirrors, as this one is equipped right here. We have a few more controls on the dash panel. We have two-person memory seat right there and multi-level storage here in the door. We have multi-way adjustment on our seats, two-way lumbar, all of which works very nicely. I'll get my words out here in a moment. These are synthetic leather seats. They are heated, they are ventilated, and you can see we have a cool camo pattern hidden in the perforation here. They are very big and chunky seats, but there isn't a lot in the way of bolstering. They are fairly flat. So if you're taking corners on road or off in this a little too quickly, you're going to be sliding around a bit. We do have this step down here, a handle here in the A-pillar, all of which to help you climb in and get comfortable inside your Sequoia. One thing I really like is this armrest here built into the door. It works very nicely. You also have a lower one right here. We'll go ahead now and put our foot on the brake, push our red engine start button. My seat moves into place and the engine fires up. You can see we have a fully digital gauge cluster here and a very large TV-like screen here. We'll go ahead and start with the gauge cluster. Though neither of these are my favorite when it comes to overall design, I think Toyota absolutely wins out in the design of their gauge cluster. It just looks a little bit more premium in my opinion. You can pan through a lot of information on the left side with your steering wheel controls. I have a full tour of this vehicle. I can't spend a whole lot of time on what every button does in this, but suffice it to say, yes, you've got a lot of controls here on the steering wheel. No head-up display in this one. We do get that digital rear view mirror that I showed you the camera for earlier back in the back. And then this very large screen down here. You can see our fuel economy numbers just are not stellar in the 100 miles that we've driven this one. Though we have gotten decent compared to that number, this is more due to me filming and leaving it idle. We do have 3-zone climate controls here, dual zone up front with a single zone for the rear compartment. You can see my ventilated seat. Remember that I had it on the last time I had the vehicle on, which I really appreciate, especially on this extremely humid morning. The temperature says 75, but my goodness, is it humid outside. So the air conditioning and the ventilated seat really come in handy. The screen here does overhang over the climate controls just a little bit, making it a little bit difficult to see, as with the indications of what all these toggles do. I do believe muscle memory will take over and you'll know exactly what all these toggles do without having to look at it. Just initially, it's a little hard to see given the overhang of the screen and its overall design. I really wish these were backlit or something that would help out a little bit. Then we get this row of toggles down here, really lending to the off-road nature of this TRD Pro variant. It is just very cool. You can see we do have 2 blanks here, but we do have a locking rear differential. Hazard button is really easy to see, and then we have this camera button here. But when you put it in reverse, you can see we have 360 cameras in this. Really good, clear, crisp overall display. We have a lot of different views that we can see. We can see up front, we can see behind us, we can see our wheels and tires, both front and rear. And then there's even an off-road mode, which makes use of this big rectangular screen in its best format, and it even gives you pitch and roll here, all of which I like a lot. Now, unfortunately, when you put it in park and you hit the camera button, it does this weird pan thing that I've never found super helpful. But if you were in drive, for instance, and you hit the camera button, it does help you park just a little bit better, all of which I like a lot. Qi wireless charger up here, electronic parking brake, electronic park hold, all in a very convenient place. We do have a mechanical actuator here for the transmission, which I really like. We have a hidden panel here for a couple cup holders. It isn't gloss black. I appreciate that a lot. All of our different drive modes and off-road modes are controlled with this dial here and these buttons. We have a 2-speed electronic transfer case here, and then this unique center compartment for storage. You can see this sliding compartment here, though it is very shallow. We have this opening compartment here, all two very shallow, and if you have anything in here, when you go to open it up, it's going to go flying to the back seats. You can see we have a rather large compartment down here. We've got coins and different things. We have a USB-A and USB-C for charging in here, all of which is very welcome, and you can get to it very nicely through that opening there. But unfortunately, to connect to the screen here, you only have a USB-A point or your wireless connectivity. Yes, this does have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Just something to take into consideration, though, that you are going to have a USB-A wired interface if that is how you prefer to interact with your phone projection. Over here, we have Toyota spelled out on the front of the dash, and then a decent glove box filled with a lot of paperwork here for this one. You can see very usable space here in a very different way in that there are just lots of different compartments and cubbies. We have one more up here for sunglasses, and then we have a couple controls up here for the massive panoramic roof. Toyota opens their sliding sunshade in one fell swoop, though it takes a little while just because of how massive the overall roof is. This is the larger of the two openings for the front portion of the sunroof, so this is definitely the more open air experience. And then we will talk about the second row after we check out that Armada. Coming to me in the Sequoia, plenty of headroom. I've got no complaints here. So the key fobs are exactly where Nissan wins most. We have a dedicated remote start button here, which I really appreciate. Lock, unlock, hatch, and panic button. You can deploy a physical key from this as well. It is a proximity key. It isn't passive entry, but we do have active entry on all four doors, which I really appreciate. We'll go ahead and climb in now to escape the sound of the garbage truck over here. Yes, unfortunately, perils of filming early in the morning. And then you can see the luxury nature of this Platinum Reserve. We get the two-tone leather interior, which is very nice. We get the two-person memory seats, which of course you do. All your window and mirror controls right here. No gloss black on the door, but only 2-level storage. Coming down to the seats, multi-way adjustable seats, 4-way lumbar here with a dedicated massage button, which I really like. We do get additional storage here in a pass-through, which we did not get on the Sequoia thanks to its mechanical gear selector and our push button controls here on the Nissan. Here we have quilted leather seats, which are very nice. This hexagonal pattern throughout. I do apologize for the early morning sunrise and all my shadows, but yes, that two-tone design carries through in here. Heated, ventilated, massaging front seats. Very nice. We do get an A-pillar handle. We do get the built-in step, making it very easy to climb in. We do also have that adjustable height suspension I mentioned earlier. Go ahead, sit in here, put our foot on the brake, and push the engine start button, and you can see our screens come to life here. We have a more traditional screen layout and just one big continuous screen area here versus having a dedicated gauge cluster and another screen over here. We'll start with the gauge cluster because I have been critical of Nissan for a little bit of time, giving us old school, outdated graphics. I've never been a fan of the Nissan graphics. I feel like they really should lean into a graphic designer, hire somebody just to build a suite of graphics that they could put on all their vehicles, but I know that is more preference than anything. We do get a head-up display here in this one, which is very welcome if I can get it to focus. And it gives you all pertinent information, including traffic sign recognition and your turn-by-turn navigation if you are using it. Over here, we get a large screen that is long ways in design. It isn't quite as tall. 14.3-inch screen here. You can see the divide line between your gauge cluster and your screen here. One very cool feature that they built into the Armada is a dash cam. So you have a quick access for your dash cam here. You can record an event, take a photo, but you can see front and rear. It uses all the cameras around you. You can also see we have an interior camera, which I really like. It is mounted right up here, allowing you to record or even see what is behind you when you're driving down the road. This works very nicely. We have another camera back here for the rear view camera mirror, all of which works very nicely. You can see we also have a pretty good view out of that back window. I didn't show you in the Sequoia, but this is the better view of the two. So very nice operation there. Very quick access, very quick response. This too has wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, but it has all USB-C interfaces, which I really appreciate. We do have quite a bit of gloss black in this one in places that you are going to touch frequently, including your push button controls for your transmission. You have your height adjustment right here. This just turns on the auto up down, so when you put it in park, it lowers the vehicle. Further controls are in the dash. Again, I have a full video going into all the details of this vehicle. And then we have our auto off there. We do have an electronic parking brake and an electronic brake hold for in traffic, but it is less convenient over my left knee over here. We do have tri-zone climate, but we don't have physical controls for each, so we only have the dual up front right here, but you can see my ventilated seat remembered I had it on, which I really appreciate. Otherwise, you're going to be going up to the screen for your front and rear controls, all of which is very easy to control, and you can see we did have heated outboard captain's chairs back there in the back. Underneath this large panel here that is meant to invoke wood, we have a Qi wireless charger, or USB-C ports, and a couple of cup holders. Back here we have a smaller center console, but it is all felt lined, so if you put anything in here, it isn't going to rattle too much, which we have a Nissan accessory down there. You're going to have to watch the full review to see exactly what that is. With the added storage down here and the glove box over here, we have a decent amount of storage up front. No big complaints. We have even more storage right here with our sunglass holder. And then we have a couple controls for our big panoramic glass roof. Nissan chooses to stop this sunshade behind the front section. You can see this is smaller than what is on the Sequoia, but we still get a nice large overall glass roof in this one. Coming to me, I've got plenty of headroom. I've got no complaints here. I do ride with the seat down, and it's for this position in both vehicles, but now let's check out the back two rows of each of these vehicles. As I mentioned when talking about the front doors, we do not have the passive entry or proximity sensors on these back doors, so you're going to have to unlock them before getting your kid into the back. But you can see we have sunshades in the windows, captain's chairs here. We have that big panoramic roof. I really like these ceiling mounted air vents in this one. We also have air vents on the back of the center console with controls back here as well. No heated back seats in this one, but higher trims do allow more luxurious options. We do have additional power back here, which is nice, and a 3-tiered storage in the door, which we saw up front. You can also quickly put up those sunshades, which I like a lot. Plenty of headroom here, but these seats do sit a little bit higher than the ones up front. They do mimic the style and design of those front seats with that camo pattern built into them. You can see we do have lower latch points here for a child seat, but given how you get into the back seat, it is not going to be an easy process with a car seat in place. You are going to have to go through that middle section, which is just a floor mat here in the TRD Pro to get to the back seat. We do have multiple steps to get to the back seat. Again, I showed you the 60-40 split nature of it. You can slide it forward and back from here, as well as in the rear cargo area, as well as fold it down from here as well. So that power fold feature is back here in the back as well. So if you left them down and need to put a kid back here, or left them up and need to put some stuff back here, you absolutely can. You can see we also have sunshades back here in the back, ceiling mounted air vents in the back as well, USB-C power over here, back here, our power recline there, armrest, cup holders. On this side, we get our air vent up here, cup holders here, our power recline there, and a cubby here that has our USB-C power. Coming to me, I've got almost enough space for my head, but again, these seats do power recline, and that actually makes it worse. So this really is not the best seat for adults. And then looking at how far I am to the floor, my knees are up just a little bit. Coming to the back doors of the Armada, we do have that active entry with a button there to unlock all 4 doors from the door itself. So even though, yes, this was locked when I came up to it, I was very easily able to get inside, which I really like. Unfortunately, we don't have built-in sunshades here in this top trim Platinum Reserve. That is a miss for me, especially in the luxury trim. So you're not gonna get any additional shade, but my goodness, look how large the windows are in this one, which is very nice. We do have controls for that 3rd zone climate area back here, as well as our heated outboard seats, more gloss black, just like we saw up front. Taking a look at the doors, we don't get 3 levels of storage back here either, because we didn't get it up front. And then taking a look at the seats, I left Tucker's child seat in place because these seats do something the Sequoias don't in allowing you to leave a car seat in place and still get into that third row. So that moves up and out of the way, giving you access to the third row. This third row does not slide, and we do not get the recline or fold flat buttons here on the side like we do in the Sequoia, but just like the first and second rows, we get this two-tone design. Also, unlike the Sequoia, which did not have lower latches in any of the three positions, you can see we get lower latch points on the passenger side only, which give you another option, another way of putting in a car seat back here in the back. We did have top tethers all the way across in the back here, so if you are going to put a child seat in either of the other positions, you're going to have to do that with the seatbelt method. Again, the seatbelt comes out of the ceiling back here in the rear cargo compartment. No sunshades in the third row back here because we didn't get them in the second, but our power recline buttons and our USB power is located right there with a couple of cup holders. I get the same over here. It is a USB-C port, which I appreciate. We also get our ceiling mounted vents, very large windows back here, really giving you a lot of air and light and keeping it less than claustrophobic back here. These headrests are rather large and will cut into your overall rear view and are going to have to be lifted up for you to sit back here. And just like in the Sequoia, I don't have the best headroom, but I can find the perfect position for my head here at 5'10". Taking a look, I'm sitting a little higher up off the floor. My knees aren't quite underneath me nearly as much, or underneath my chin nearly as much in this one. And you can see it's fairly easy to get out with that child seat lifted as it is here in the Armada as well. Well, there you have it. Two alternatives to the Chevy Tahoe in the big body-on-frame three-row SUV class. This Toyota Sequoia has a lot to offer, but really is best at high speeds off-road in this TRD Pro trim. Over here at $82,000, we have the bargain of the two in an true Escalade fighter, really kind of punching above that high country trim of the Chevy Tahoe, really kind of giving you a bargain all the way around, even though the price tag starts with an 8. So which of these is right for you if, well, you just don't want a Chevy Tahoe? Only you can decide that, but hopefully this video helped. If it did help you, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below and ring the bell so you can catch future content from us. Find us on all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, Threads, YouTube. Everything is at GT Garage Talk, or you can go to gtgaragetalk.com. But as for me, I have to rack my brain a little bit and figure out which one of these I'm driving home. That was painful. All that just to get that last take.